This year has truly been the year of the katana slap, with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black bringing a new coat of paint to the series earlier this year, and Ragebound and Shinobi Art of Vengeance holding us over for the summer. Does Ninja Gaiden 4 end the year of the ninja with a bang? Before I continue, I was in the process of replaying the Ninja Gaiden series leading up to 4's release, but unfortunately I didn't finish it. I played 1 Sigma, got halfway through 2 Black, but never started 3. So I still have a majority of the series fresh in my mind. And with that, let me talk about the story. It sucks, that's all there is to it. From a narrative perspective, Yakumo is just trying to be the same lone wolf archetype as Ryu, but without the depth that makes Ryu so appealing. And that's fine, this is only his first game. If he's gonna appear more in the future, they could flesh him out some more. I could definitely see them releasing a Ragebound style game for Yakumo in the future. The rest of the characters like Sayori, Tyron, and Misaki are just completely unappealing, and some I only remember because of the services they provide. But here's the thing, you don't play Ninja Gaiden for its story because it's never really had a good story, at least not the mainline games. Ryu has kind of been the only piece of Ninja Gaiden's story worth remembering. When people bring up Momiji or Ayane online, I never see them talk about what they contributed to the series' overarching story. It's just talking about their gameplay in Ninja Gaiden 2 or whenever they appear in Dead or Alive, and this is all perfectly fine. I don't go into Ninja Gaiden expecting a gripping narrative experience, and especially not this game. But there is one part of the story that just isn't excusable, and it's the lack of Ryu himself. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for introducing a fresh face to a long-standing franchise to spice things up. Devil May Cry did it with Nero and V, God of War did it with Atreus, Bayonetta did it with Viola, but what separates these games from Ninja Gaiden 4 is that they don't take up the legacy character's spotlight, at least until their story is completed. Of the 19 chapters in this game, Ryu is only playable in like 2 of them, and he only has his dragon sword. And again, I would have been fine with this, but Ryu was kind of the face of the marketing. Team Ninja kept saying that Ryu would play as much of a role in the story as Yakumo. Hell, Ryu's face in the official box art is larger than Yakumo's. Just don't overhype a character's importance if they're gonna play such a little role in the story. Hey y'all, quick interjection. Before I started editing this video, I actually got to Ryu's chapters. Pretty sure it was chapter 14 that it started. And to be honest, he shouldn't have even been in the main story at all.
What?
No, alright. I know that sounds bad.
Just bear with me. The gameplay?
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
I loved playing as Ryu, I just wish he wasn't only getting new weapons in the 2 Masters. But the chapters themselves sucked. They were just Ryu fighting the same bosses that Yakumo fought, and to make it worse, it was in reverse order. So we start with the same fish that Yakumo fought like 3 chapters prior. There was no reason for this to be a part of the main story. If you absolutely needed to tell this part of the story, this section would have actually been a perfect prequel DLC. Think Ghost Runner Project Hell, a separate DLC expansion that covers these bosses, sets them up in the main story, and adds more depth to Ryu and Sayori. Better yet, what you could have done is just made him an endgame unlock. Keep what's already in the game. You unlock the option to replay the game as Ryu, complete the purgatories, etc. This fluff did not need to exist in the game, and it gives off the same energy as the Rachel missions in Ninja Gaiden 1 Sigma. The best way I can possibly open this section is by saying that Ninja Gaiden 4 is everything I wanted it to be. For a good few years, the only action games we got were just copies of Dark Souls and Sekiro, and at a point it just felt like none of them were doing anything different. There were the occasional standouts, but they were far and few between. Hell, Black Myth Wukong, a game that was touted as being a return to form for this genre, was just another Souls-like. Ninja Gaiden 4, however, is that return to form. It doesn't do anything new for the genre as a whole, but it does an amazing job of reminding us why we loved hack and slashes in the first place. Juggling enemies in the air, extending airtime with combos, hot swapping weapons, and most importantly, creative finishers.
It's over.
I have been having a blast with this game, and I plan on playing it multiple times on end. I am also in love with the Bloodbind ninjutsu system. If you've seen my other hack and slash reviews, you'll know that I adore player creativity above all else, and this system helps with that. It gives you a unique way to cut through an enemy's defenses, and you can easily choose between a regular counterattack or a Blood Raven counterattack. You can perform wide area sweeps with Ataka Minakata's Blood Raven moves, or pierce an enemy's armor with the Yutausen's moves. Another thing I love is how the higher difficulties are actually difficult and still exciting. So far I've played 1 Sigma on normal, and 2 Black and 4 on hard mode. Sigma is tedious and relies on 2000s era game mechanics for its difficulty. 2 Black borrows the same problems as 2 Sigma and still feels way too easy for its own good. But 4 actually has enemies with unique functions on harder difficulties. Instead of just giving the enemy stagger resistance and calling it a day, the enemies can block their attacks mid-air, so you have to carefully plan your attacks and defenses. Sure, the bosses have gimmicks that can make them tedious, but at least I don't have to replay a 3-minute platforming section before fighting the final boss. One thing to note, it's clear that this is more of a Platinum game than it is a Team Ninja game. It does have some of the signature Ninja Gaiden combos like ultimate techniques and the Izuna drop, and it still has the same blocking system as the first few games, but the main defensive technique I've been using is the perfect dodge and parry. It's really hard for me to properly put into words, but Platinum Games and Team Ninja have vastly different philosophies when it comes to their combat styles. Platinum is mainly focused on style and flair, and Team Ninja is all about tempering your skills and relying on your reflexes. It feels like Team Ninja is only credited because it's a Ninja Gaiden game, and again, this isn't a bad thing. I love Platinum more than Team Ninja actually, and I was ecstatic to see them actually working together, but Platinum's combat style is at the forefront of this game. Coming off of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, I was worried that this game would be as poorly optimized as that was, but it's actually pretty well optimized for the most part. I did have the occasional glitches. But the game has had a steady frame rate and no crashes at all. It must not be running on Unreal 5 because the performance is so much better than 2 Blacks. There is one thing that really annoys me, which is that there are so few resolution settings. My monitor is 1366 by 768, which most games have as an option. This is not one of those games, so I have to play at either 1920 by 1080 or 1280 by 720. It's not the end of the world, but it is an inconvenience, especially when I'm trying to record my gameplay. The level design is also kind of a miss. The levels aren't terribly structured, and some of the on-the-rails sequences were pretty cool, but they don't really stand out from other games I've played. The first 4 chapters, the ones in Tokyo City, just looked like stages from Ghost Runner 2, and they weren't all that unique there either. Then I got to Fuhaku Sanctum and immediately thought I was in the Hayabusa village. I'll admit this is 80% me being a moron, but the other 20% is just the levels looking incredibly similar to the Hayabusa village, at least at the start. Again, the levels aren't terrible, but they don't do much to stand out. There is one other thing I don't like, and it's a huge nitpick in the grand scheme of things, but I don't like how your saved costume doesn't appear in the big cutscenes, especially since it looks like they're in-engine and not cinematic. I know, not a big deal, but something that still irks me. Ninja Gaiden 4 had one job: bring back the glory days of hack and slashes, and by God it delivered. The dull story and uninspired level design can easily be excused simply by its combat. It's exhilarating, brutal, satisfying, and overall a damn good time. Jeff, I swear to God, if you snub this game like you did Rise of the Ronin. Ninja Gaiden 4 is available on Xbox Game Pass on Xbox and PC. A PC-only plan is available for $16.49 a month, but the Ultimate plan, the only one to include Day 1 access to Ninja Gaiden 4, is $30 a month. Other than that, it's available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC via Steam and the Microsoft Store. There are 2 versions of the game available, Standard and Digital Deluxe. The Standard Edition costs $70 and just comes with the base game. The Digital Deluxe Edition costs $90 and comes with a few extra goodies. You get the traditional Dark Blue and Legendary Black Falcon skins for Ryu and his Blade of the Archfiend weapon skin. You also get the Divine Chimera and Raven Master skins for Yakumo and his Divine weapon skins. You then get Day 1 access to the future DLC content The Two Masters, releasing in early 2026. Lastly, you get some consumable items like spiritual elixirs and 50,000 bonus ninja coin, the in-game currency. Before I hop off, I want to give a bunch of different updates. First is going over the rest of the videos I'm making this year. So far, there are only 2 more reviews planned for the rest of 2025. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 next month, and Warframe The Old Peace likely in December. And Black Ops 7 is dependent on my financial situation when the game drops, so I can't guarantee it at the moment. Moving on from that, if my friends and I are all up for it again this year, we'll also try to make a video reacting to the Game Awards 2025 like we have almost every other year. Lastly, for housekeeping, my friends actually bit the bullet and bought Sonic Racing Crossworlds, and we've all been having a blast playing it together. At least I think we are.
You probably go off and play Mario Kart World in your free time because you can't enjoy an actually good game for once in your fucking life. Jesus H. Christ.
So who knows, if I run out of ideas and get enough funny clips in one session, that might be a video or 2. Next, if you aren't aware, I've made a YouTube short series out of Warframe, rapidly explaining the kits of almost every Warframe in the game. Some people in the comments of these shorts have suggested making a supercut of these videos so it's easier for new players to access than YouTube shorts. And I've always been considering making this, but after we got Noko and the Oberon rework. Now that they're both out, I'll get to work on this whenever I have the time. I'll just edit whatever shorts I have left, but instead put them into the supercut. Currently, there are 17 frames that need videos made, 18 if I don't get the video out before Uriel drops, and at least 3 that I'm gonna update. So we'll see how long it takes to get that out. This is a prototype of what the supercut would look like. Light Verse will restore health and provide overguard to Dante and his allies. Dark Verse will deal slash damage to enemies in front of him. Final Verse has 4 different effects depending on which combination of verse abilities you use. Lastly, back in July, I made a nearly 2-hour-long video essay called An Extensive History of the Hack and Slash Genre Part 1. In that video, I explained that I was going to wait until I was in a better mental state to start Part 2, but that's slightly untrue. Another reason why I've been putting off Part 2 was because of how poorly the video performed, especially since the literal day after I uploaded a video that got nearly 30,000 views. Which I'm not too bummed out by. I mean, the video was very inconsistent editing wise, and my God of War Ragnarok series had better production quality. But since I'm feeling slightly more confident about myself now, I'll try and start making part 2 in early 2026. I just want to spend as much time as I can with the old piece first before starting that video. Since no one else I know is going to start playing Warframe anytime soon, hopefully I can dedicate a lot of my time to making part 2. That's all for now. See you guys likely in December.